In today's edition of Trust Talks, I feel extremely happy and privileged to welcome Mr. Mihir Vora, Chief Investment Officer of Trust Mutual Fund, to share his understanding and insights on customer communication, which is a very important aspect in present-day environment. I would like to get a preliminary view from him on the topic. Welcome, Mr. Mihir Vora.
Thank you. It's a pleasure and a privilege to be here on this edition of Trust Talks, and always happy to share, my insights on the various topics that we are discussing.
Thank you. As we know, the present-day business environment is extremely dynamic with constantly shifting customer demands and preferences. I would like to understand from you that in this fast-changing environment, how do you leverage data insights to understand customer preferences and accordingly tailor-made interactions to boost up and build strong customer connections?
As you rightly mentioned, the business environment has become extremely dynamic, and the scales of businesses are changing dramatically. And especially for businesses like us in the Trust Group, and especially within that the AMC, Asset Management Company, this becomes even more relevant. As you know, the asset management business that we have is the first B2C, business to consumer business in the group. This is the first time that we are getting visibility to thousands and ultimately lakhs and millions of customers, which will form the base of our mutual fund, business, so to say. For example, in the NFO, we already have 16,000 investors, and that's only growing every day. Communicating with a large group of customers, but at the same time, maintaining a level of personalization becomes a challenge. And while the good thing is that while it's a challenge, technology today also enables us to overcome those challenges. In fact, the kind of data that we have today is something that was not available even say 5 years or 10 years or younger, especially with the Jandan, Aadhaar, mobile data available, plus the KYC challenges that we are going through. They are collecting a lot of data, plus social media, the big platforms that we have. In fact, there is a problem of plenty as far as data is concerned. But the good thing is that if we are able to run that data smartly, we can actually deliver a level of personalization which was unthinkable a few years ago. Personalizing the data for individual preferences, socio-economic targeting, specific products for specific group of customers. All this was not possible 5-10 years ago, but we have now big technological capacities if we use them smartly. So I think usage of technology to personalize not only the customer experience, but also to identify niche segments which probably would not have been identified earlier is something that we can really work on, and the technology is out there for us to use.
So, the journey of Trust Group, we started around 25 years ago as a boutique distribution house. The customer interface has expanded exponentially, particularly after the launch of successive schemes of Trust Mutual Fund. Now, when there is a paradigm shift in the customer interface of the group, what strategies do you employ to ensure that there is a seamless, consistent customer experience across various communication channels which we employ?
Absolutely. Usage of technology is paramount. But what is also more important is that we understand that the customer can approach us from any side. He can communicate with us through email or a call center or even social media apps like WhatsApp, Telegram. All these have become very normal channels. In fact, India is the largest user of Instagram and WhatsApp. So all those media channels have to be seamlessly integrated for the customer to be able to approach us from any angle. Problem is how to integrate all these applications into our own customer databases. And that's what I think we are very actively working on. We also need to understand that it's not only the customer approach that we need to worry about. Of course, that's only the customer service aspect of it. But customer acquisition, that is also something that we need to understand. So for example, in the mutual fund, the CEO and I are very actively involved in all sorts of media platforms. We try to make sure that our presence is felt in the print media, on television media, on social media channels, at the individual level handles as well as through the company handles. So both ways, usage of omni-channels becomes very important.
Now, when we interact, this 360-degree interaction with the customers, which is a must today, we also need to cultivate trust through these customer engagement platforms. Now, my question, or what I would like to understand from you, is how do you prioritize transparency and honesty? And also, how do you approach openly addressing challenges to build up stronger customer relationships?
Certainly. I think your question itself has the answer. If you are transparent and honest, the customer relationship will be powerful, And these days, the answer is very simple. You have to be transparent and honest. At any point in time, whatever you say and do has to be in line with whatever is the data available currently. So as long as you were true to yourself, as long as you were honest to yourself, credibility is everything. And I've also seen that customers or people have the instinct of figuring out whether the person is being honest and truthful or not. So I think as long as you keep it simple and keep it transparent and be honest to yourself, you'll be honest to your customer, and that ultimately will be the foundation of a long-term relationship.
Now, while I understand your values, I would like to understand also that how do you ensure timely and responsive communication with customers to demonstrate that we are committed to meet their needs and fully satisfy them with our services?
See, timeliness, of course, is important. But what is equally important and which contributes to timeliness is ownership. As long as there is someone who's owning the relationship, he or she is in charge of the relationship, I think it automatically falls upon that person to make sure that nothing falls to the cracks. So once there is an interaction with the customer or a demand from a customer or a customer requirement that has been identified, it has to be followed up, and there has to be, a seamless transfer of, as you say, a relay race. So whether it's, the customer service person or the customer relationship manager or the back office operations or even, the compliance, etc. department, everybody has to make sure that we come together and deliver the services to the client's requirements at all points in time in a timely fashion. But ultimately, it's culture that matters.
In this context, I would like to have one last question with you, is that having built up this infrastructure of customer communication, how do you ensure active integration of this customer feedback into our efforts for developing and enhancing products and services, which would take care of their requirement and which will deepen the partnership with the customers?
Sometimes it takes a little bit of effort to figure out what the real demand is, what the real requirement is. The customer may not even understand what he needs, but once you, as a domain expert, try to dig deeper by asking a few leading questions, by trying to, put things in context to the customer, then the real requirements come out. So I think listening and empathy is a big aspect of, what we do in terms of service providers. And second is, continuous feedback, as you rightly mentioned. There has to be a process in which groups of customers or, focus group, etc. are regularly, contacted to figure out what are the market trends. Sometimes product ideas come from customers.
Yeah.
They don't have to come from a products team. So I think being on the ground, listening with empathy, and basically, making sure that even the leadership team hits the ground once in a while to basically immerse themselves into the customer experience, that would help a lot in terms of, taking active feedback and making sure that we are continuously responding to requirements, being innovative and being, agile in terms of market delivery.
So we got a fair idea from you that even in this constantly shifting environment, how to take out from the customer their real needs and what they are really looking for. Build service and products around it and cater to them to ensure maximum satisfaction. I think in a standardized environment of mutual fund industry. This USP is what would differentiate us from the rest of the players. Thank you, Mihir. Thank you for joining this Trust Talks. We are indeed privileged to have you here today. And Trust Talks is a new initiative. We would continue to come out with more such episodes on a continuous basis.
Thank you. Always a pleasure, and look forward to many such interactions.
Thanks.